progress versus this area where that stands?
Yeah, Louis was diagnosed with a mild MCL strain, 2 to 4 weeks, and with where we are in the season, certainly wasn't worth pushing. I know that he had goals to play 150 games this year, and he's not a guy that likes to go on the IL. But it's also an opportunity at this point to celebrate a tremendous season by one of the best players in baseball. We're very proud as an organization to be a part of his development, and also just lucky and fortunate to be able to watch him go out there and show us what he's capable of doing. So it's a minor injury. Obviously, we've got a short window left of the season here. It doesn't make any sense to push him, but he should feel very proud as an organization. We are very proud with the player he's become.
You feel rest is that there's nothing more needed besides just getting him up. I mean, it's that.
That's right. It's just rest.
Okay.
Yep.
What kind of plan do you have him though for the off season?
Whatever he did last off season, I think that's a pretty good blueprint to work off of. He's a guy that physically gifted, but every year presents new challenges. I know that the year prior, he was hit with a couple injuries. He did a really nice job doing what was needed to put himself in a position to play as many games as he has. He's a guy that strives to be better. He wants to be the best. And players like that, sometimes you need to govern them a little bit, make sure they're not going out there and doing anything to put themselves at health risk. He's becoming a smarter baseball player, making decisions that are allow him to go out there and show off his athletic ability without kind of overreaching and putting himself in harm's way. But he's in a very good spot. We're going to sit down with him here in the last week and talk about his off season and create momentum for 2024 season.
What does it mean to you when you hear him talk? Not so much about homers, not so much about the doubles and the stolen bases. He liked all those, but that he wanted to be available. He wanted to be out there 150 games. He wanted to be that guy who played all the time.
Yeah, no, I think it's a tremendous amount of respect from his teammates, from the organization, that he has that mindset, because that is a winning mindset. Whether it be any player, but certainly a player of that talent that wants to be out there and compete every day, that speaks to the player and person that he is. And I know that's going to be received well by his teammates, his coaching staff, and certainly the fans. I'm once again where he's at with his career. I'm very proud of the player and person he's become.
You guys ended Michael's season by putting him on the IL. He had the procedure. How's he doing? And then what's kind of the outlook for him as he goes into the offseason?
Yeah, Michael's doing well. The cyst removal was successful. It was a minor procedure. It wasn't invasive where it affected his tissue or muscle, so it's really just wound healing at this point. But we wanted him to be in a position where he could have a full off season. That's why we chose to do the procedure when we did. And he made a start, and then we put him in the bullpen for a couple of stints, just to minimize what was on his plate on a daily basis. Go out there, be an athlete, attack the zone, and he accomplished that. Obviously, in speaking with him, and I know that he would say this right now, that he wanted better results, but there were plenty of positive takeaways in that. Now we get his knee healthy, have a normal off season, and build towards being a starter for next season.
He had that same cyst issue last year. Is this something that you guys are thinking is going to keep popping up moving forward?
I hope not, but it's fully removed. There's different ways to go at it, whether you drain it or remove it. And in this case, we removed it, and he's in a pretty good spot. I don't think it's a major concern for us moving forward.
How was it affecting him pitching?
You'd have to ask him that. He rarely complained about it. I think that, he's a guy that, because of how explosive he is, if there's any element of weakness, it can affect his ability to attack the zone in a powerful way, which he's accustomed to doing. I don't know exactly, but we know that it was in there and it had to be done. So the best decision for the White Sox and was for Michael was to get it done now so he can get as strong as possible for next season.
You mentioned his season didn't go the way you guys wanted it to go. I mean, in the wake of that, what do you guys expect from him in 2024?
Well, he hasn't had a smooth and normal, path and preparation for a spring training in a while. So, once again, we felt like, that's why we decided on the timing. I know that there's some tweaks that we can make with his arsenal. We've seen the fastball capabilities, we've seen the slider capabilities. We need a consistent third pitch. I know that with the hire of Brian Bannister, they've got history going back to Boston. The history that he already has with Ethan Katz, we've already been having discussions on some tweaks and some adjustments that can be made. For him to gain confidence going into the spring training. But we certainly have hopes for him to be able to go out there and compete every fifth day. He's a major league starter, but it's just a matter of putting him in the best position for next season, and we think we've got a game plan to do that for him.
How do you build the confidence? I mean, it's Michael's always been kind of an easy read, sometimes out there when things aren't going right. How do you help him build that confidence over himself?
Well, the good thing for Michael is he has had stretches of success. He has high expectations for himself, and I think he would benefit with just really focusing on the process to get there versus the end result so much. I think that wanting to go out there and get those results every single time leads to some of the disappointments from time to time, just because those expectations are so high. So, but he needs to find something to believe in. And foundationally has had a lot of success already at this level. Does he want to do better? Of course. But he has that to work off of, and now as coaches or as an organization is to help him, lead him in the direction so he has something to focus on to then, of course, if everything clicks, get the big results that he wants.
What do you envision the rotation looking like next year? I know it's a big picture, broad stroke kind of question. What do you see the rotation looking like?
It's a little early to comment on what the rotation is going to look like. We know the players to expect back here, and we know the pitchers that are in our system, but we've got some work to do. We've got staff in town. The last couple of days we'll continue to meet throughout this week, and we've got some time before free agency opens up, along with the ability to acquire some other arms. But that's certainly an area that needs to be addressed. And we like some of the arms we have, and we like a lot of the arms that are coming through our system. And we'll learn more of what we need to do here in the coming weeks to set us up for the offseason.
You mentioned Ethan and Brian, and kind of a two-parter. Do you have any idea on if everyone from the staff is coming back? Has that been decided, first of all?
It hasn't been decided. We're still working on that. And I've had many conversations with Pedro and other members of the front office. We're working through that. September was about, for me, really doing a deeper dive into certain areas of the organization, including the major league day-to-day operations, spend time with the players, our staff, and so I haven't come to a conclusion quite yet. We're still working through that. We've got some time.
And Brian is the whole organization? I mean, is he going to be focused, on the minor league side? Is he going to be working on both? And what does it mean to have him, all three hires made in the front office?
Yeah, Banny's going to he's going to be involved in all levels of pitching, whether it be at the major league level through the minors, down to the Dominican Academy, and on the acquisition front, very bright guy. He's accomplished a lot. Most recently was with Boston and then San Francisco. We're excited to have him. He has a built-in relationship with Ethan because of their time together in San Francisco, which certainly gives us even more confidence as we transition Vanny in. Very bright guy, can help in a lot of different ways, and feel very fortunate to be able to bring him in as we try to enhance our pitching department. We've got Josh Barfield that was recently hired as an assistant general manager. Josh is from the Diamondbacks. He's been overseeing player development there. Josh is a very talented, hardworking, respected person in our game. He's done a lot with the D-backs. Certainly we're playing them right now, and you look on their roster, they've got a lot of young players that have come through their system, and having discussions with him with what they've done as an organization the last couple of years, from some struggles to now getting a taste of success and a playoff hunt here. There's been a lot of deep and I feel like takeaways that I think can apply to our situation. But Josh has got a bright future. He's a connector of people. He's going to energize our group. He already has. And feel once again fortunate to have him come aboard too. Gene Watson is going to oversee our pro scouting. Gene is another well-respected person in the in the industry. 25 years of scouting experience with multiple organizations. He's got a very strong network when it comes to scouting and decision making. Certainly, there's a lot that goes into it, and I've got a tremendous respect for scouting acumen and the scout's eye. However, to be able to collect background and make up information is certainly a strength of Gene, and we're going to continue to drive that with our group as we put together the best team that we can up here and factoring who are the best fits in this clubhouse.
Jeremy seems to have, he's been a very valuable piece of this organization for a while, but it seems like he's been in, you have to stand down for a short time here before we get around to what his job is going to be. When do you think you'll be able to approach that and let us know what that position is?
Well, Jeremy, remains in an assistant general manager position. Very talented, helps in a lot of different areas. He's done that. He's been certainly someone I've worked close with here in the last several years. And he offers a lot to the organization as we, acclimate some of the new hires here. He's been tremendous. He's a team player and wants us to help get this right. And those are the types of people that we're targeting and bringing in here.
With Watson's hire, you talk about the organization's mixed record in free agency for a while. What needs to change in terms of free agency, pro scouting, things like that?
Yeah, I think there's a short and long-term plan, right? And being able to fully communicate within our organization or even externally what our needs are. I think having someone with Gene's background and being in various situations with organizations at different times, different stages, to have that type of experience now added to our group, I think is going to be really valuable. When it comes to understanding the background, the makeup of the player, I think there have been some misses through the years where we've maybe focused on certain areas and maybe not so much on others, where I feel like Gene's really going to be able to close that gap for us.
Chris, you've got a lot of moving parts right now. What are one of the one or two big decisions you must make once the season's over?
Well, we've got the obvious one of Tim Anderson, what we're going to be doing with TA, and he's meant so much to this organization. He's been an impactful player for this ball club, and we're going to have discussions on the best step forward for the White Sox, and whether that be TA playing shortstop for us or not. There's an option there that needs to be discussed and deserves an exhaustive discussion just because of what he's meant to this organization.
Did he play second?
TA is very talented. He could probably play a lot of different places on the diamond.
What do you see from him in terms of this year that might speak to what he's able to do or not do in 2024?
Well, you've seen flashes of his ability to drive ball to the gap. Obviously, his contact ability. Unfortunately, you just haven't seen the consistency you've seen in the past. But there's plenty of life left in his game that we feel like he can still be a productive major league player. So I know he's been frustrated. There's been some injuries along the way that have affected his lower half. With anyone that's hit knows that it starts from the ground up, and I think that's probably affected him from time to time. But all in all, He's been frustrated with the production, and we know that he's capable of doing more, but it's a matter of when and how it's going to come out.
How surprising was it? Anderson and Benintendi have hit at the top of the order pretty much all season. To see they're kind of consistent, they haven't been able to kind of really get on a roll. How surprising is that to you, knowing what the players they are?
Yeah, I'd say that we've seen them, be mature bats in a lineup before, and to have them at the top and not as consistent as we were accustomed to seeing, is something that needs to be addressed. There's different ways to go about it, but is there something mechanical that needs to be adjusted? Do they need to be hitting the different parts of the lineup? Do we need to bring in different types of players to kind of give us a different rhythm to our lineup? All things that to be considered. There's no sure answer at this point, but we've got some time to figure it out.
How often do you talk to Jerry Reinsdorf?
I talk to Jerry pretty often. I can't say I get it's case to case.
Have you guys made a decision on doing Liam Hendricks as a team option for next year? Obviously, he's got the recovery coming up.
Right, we haven't decided that. Liam's doing well with his rehab, and obviously it's been a long year for him. But he's in the clubhouse bouncing around in good spirits. But we'll get to that decision soon.
Because you guys have talked a lot about reshaping next year. You stayed away from the rebuild word, obviously. You've done a deep dive into everything, but there does seem to be a lot of areas you have to address, not you personally, but the team. After this deep dive, do you still feel like this is a team that can be a contender, or is it more see what happens and see how things play out over the offseason?
Yeah, I think that there are a lot of players on this team and a lot of pieces that can help a team, win a division and have some success at the major league level. However, what's best for us in the short term and long term, that's going to take a kind of a deeper dive. First, for me, it's really coming in here and foundationally, where are we with different departments so we can avoid these extreme swings. And that's been the focus and will remain. Obviously, as we move, through October and November, we'll start focusing more on our what we need to do to put the best team forward for next year and years further.
The Watson hiring seems to be a real significant one, and you touched on it a little bit. You can't just look at the guy's OPS and know that he's going to hit home runs to bring somebody in. With Gene's contacts in the game, no doubt that you can get to the bottom of every player that you're interested in signing or bringing in a trade.
Yeah, we've got multiple projection systems and ways to evaluate players, and get an idea of what we feel like how productive they're going to be on the field. However, there's an element that can't be missed, and that's the makeup of the player. What are we getting? How does he fit, within the White Sox culture, within the clubhouse? That is very important to me and should be very important to any club. So that's where I feel like Gene definitely comes in, along with managing a scouting group that is very valuable to this organization. Yeah, he's shut down right now. It's a flexor strain, and there is a level of optimism because of where his soreness is. It is going to take a little bit of time to get a better read on his return to play, so to speak. So, but right now it's rest and recover, and we'll see where he's at.
You've been here obviously for a while, but how dispassionate do you have to be this offseason in remaking this roster, with the guys you have now that you might have to say goodbye to?
Yeah, I'm certainly not coming in with any sort of biases because we've got players that perhaps I've known longer than others. I think objectively speaking, it's putting together the best team that we can, and so if that means that we've got to move on from some players or bring in other players to create competition, we'll have to do that. But I think it's my duty in this position to do the best thing for the Chicago White Sox, and I'm determined to do so.
One more injury, no Schultz. What's the future look like for him, and what's the future plan? That looks good for him, obviously, but how's he feeling?
Yeah, Noah's doing well. He's out in Arizona right now. We just began a performance camp after finalizing our instructional week camp. But he's throwing well. Just recently threw a side, bounced back well, and we'll continue to build on that. But Noah's, all in all, he's had a very impressive year. He showed us what he's capable of doing. Moving forward, it's about building strength and gaining the innings that are needed for him to be a starter.
You're looking forward to the just the aspect of trade talks and being in that chair and talking to other GMs and setting a deal and things like that. 'Cause that's all new, right?
It is. It'll be new in the position that I'm in. I certainly have been able to build relationships the last couple of years with whether it be other GMs or AGMs, but to be able to look into different ways to improve your club. I think anyone that is a sports fan would enjoy being, in the seat for at least a period of time to potentially upgrade their roster. So, speaking candidly, I'm pretty excited about that opportunity.
Normally you have exit interviews with all your players. You started to conduct that, and in the case of Tim, it would be more than just an exit interview, but a real getting down to meeting of minds about how you envision his future, how he envisions his future.
Yeah, each sit down is different for obvious reasons, and everyone's situation is different. With TA, a player that we've known for a stretch, and we've seen the ups and downs, and we know what the potential is. That's a conversation that certainly isn't taken delicately. And perhaps a conversation that takes that is going to be more than just one sit down. But the TA deserves that. It's such a large decision for this organization that we're going to make sure that it's an exhaustive one.
Oscar Colas obviously struggled this year and got sent down to the minors at the end of the year. Is he a guy that is still part of the planning in right field, or do you guys need to make a new kind of short-term and long-term plan?
Oscar's going to have the ability to compete, for a spot on our major league club. We know he's capable of doing more. There were certain components of his game that just need to be improved. And, we've had that discussion with Oscar. He seems to understand that. Nothing's going to be handed to Oscar Colas moving forward. He needs to go out there, have a great offseason. We'll see what he looks like come spring training.